Hey guys, so this is just going to be a car talk. Maybe I'll make this a regular thing, maybe I won't. But there's nothing in particular I really want to talk about, but I figure we could just have some idle banter. So I saw a post earlier where they were talking about what are the true, if you pick three brands, like the big three for watches, right? So everyone's like, oh, it has to be like Rolex, Patek, Omega, or whatever amalgamation of brands. And then this one absolute fucking Chad put Casio, Timex, and I think it was Citizen. It was Casio, Timex, Citizen, or Casio, Timex. I think it was Citizen. But and they put this is the real big three. If you go by sales, numbers of owners, or reoccurring purchasers. And I fucking died because everyone says the same big three. It's just all luxury watches. But if you actually look at the big three in the industry by almost any metric aside from pretension, it really is like Casio, Timex, Citizen. These brands outsell circles by hundreds of thousands, by times, by units sold over these other companies, right? So what does that translate to? You may not say more profit, right? Because if you'd have to sell 100,000 F91Ws to match one high-end Patek, right? But in reality, that's 100,000 people, actually wearing and using the watch, the F91Ws, compared to the one person who probably has a Patek as a safe queen. And even if they're one of those super rad people that just has a ton of money and they're just rocking, $100,000 beater watch, then fuck yeah, power to you, you're sick. You have no judgment here. I don't hate people because they have a ton of money to throw at a hobby. By any means, you could be just as much a fan as anybody else, just as much as the budget guy, just as much as anybody else. It's a spirit. And but yeah, so in my mind, I'm like, this guy actually nailed it on the head. When I'm really made me rethink what are the big three. So actually, we'll make that the first talking point. And I really want your guys' feedback in the comments, because if no one responds, I'm going to stop doing this shit. I don't want people to just idly listen. I want interaction back and forth, because that's the only way it's worth it to me. But what do you think the actual big three are? And let's think of a few metrics. So first off, in being worn by the most people. Second off, we'll say the most return customers. And third, we'll say the one that you own the most of, right? You own the most models by them. And don't just Google the answers. I mean, anecdotally, in your experience, what are the big three for you guys? So we'll do that. I think that'll be fun. And we'll probably get different answers from everybody, or at least slightly different answers from everybody. So I think mine would have to be Casio. I own the most Casio. If I could only have one brand that I buy from the rest of my life, it would be Casio. And then my second would have to be... And by the way, I count Casio and G-Shock as the same brand, because technically they are the same brand. But if I can't, then those would be two. But I think Casio... Timex I've always liked, but some of their models are a little loud. And for me, that's a total thing as a kid. My mom had those wall clocks that fucking ticked. And I think that's what's wrong with me today, is that I listen to ticking of a wall clock consistently for 16 years. But, so I hate watches that have sound. So I don't buy a ton of Timex. I do admit they're one of the better sellers. So I guess I'd have to put them up there. So Casio, Timex, and I'll say anecdotally, the one that I'm most excited about currently is Bulova, just because I'm super into mecha quartz movements and hyper accuracy. As you guys know, I see watches as tools, and to me, there's no better function for a tool or specifically for a watch, than to be good at keeping time, right? It's primary function. And in my mind, Bulova is just blowing everyone else away right now. There is stuff like that Timex, I forget the name of the Timex, but it's accurate to a second a year. It's the 0700 movement. if I remember correctly, or 0100 movement, something along those lines. And that one's accurate to like plus minus a second of a year. The Bulova, I think it's a GS or something like that, movement, whatever. The one that's in the watch I'm wearing right now, Watch Check, Bulova, Marine Star. But that one's accurate to like 10 seconds a year, although I did see on some forums guys were putting up, hey, last year I got like 4 seconds, so you're gonna be in that range. So yeah, it's just like Timex and Bulova and Casio for me. That's my top 3. And it doesn't have to be factual. It can just be, you know, anecdotally what you're into, like what are you excited about, all of that. So write down below what you think. So that'll be our first response. Secondly, if a brand fucks up, do you give them another chance, right? I was talking to one of my coworkers about that earlier. Actually, he's been on here before, Mike, Magic Mike. And by the way, he was never a stripper. He actually was a pastor before he started working at the hospital there. And I call him Magic Mike because every time, like his primary job is he brings supplies to the different units. And I will call him, and I started calling him Magic because any time that I call him on our little Voceras for a piece of equipment, like no matter how hyper specific it is, when I call, he's already on the way with it. Like it's literally uncanny. It's fucking creepy how good he is at his job. So anyways, long story long, I was talking to Magic Mike about it, and I showed him my watch. I'm like, hey, check it out, this is the one we talked about before, and and just talk specs, and he just loved the look of it too. And he's like, man, I love that, but the only problem is I bought a Bulova one time about 30 years ago that he said stopped working, so I'm assuming it was like an automatic movement that stopped working after like 3 months, right? Which, thankfully, I've never had, like, that terrible of an experience with a watch in particular. I've had that terrible of an experience with, like, pocket knives, which maybe we could talk about that at some point, because I know a lot of us that are into watches are also into pocket knives. But if you guys get a lemon, that'll be the next question that I expect a response to in the comments. If you guys get a lemon, like a total fucking lemon, no redeeming factors whatsoever, from a company, do you give them a second chance? And let's see, maybe we could think of something else. Get a third topic going. Let's see. Okay, so here's one. Do you often swap out your watch during the day, depending on your activity, right? Because I've seen a lot of reviews where people write like, oh, I love this G-Shock, it's my like gym watch. Or like, I love this like MRW 200H, it's my gardening watch. Or like my outdoors watch, or whatever. And that struck me as kind of weird, because typically I want my watch to do everything I'm doing that day. Like, it's kind of a prerequisite of me buying it. Like, I don't want to buy a watch that, you know, has dog shit water resistance, that then if I accidentally take it to work and wash my hands, it's gonna, you know, drown on me or something. So yeah, I typically buy watches that can do anything that I'll need it to do in a day, but at the same time, you know, I get it. There are some watches that have features that you really enjoy for certain tasks, right? Like the countdown timer on the DW5600E G-Shock Square. That one, it has the repeating countdown timer. So like after my last hernia surgery, I had the repeating timer on every 4 hours when I could take pain meds again. So, like, there are certain features that I like for certain activities, or, like, it was great for workout timer. I was doing a lot of circuit training, calisthenics stuff. So I would do, like, you know, the circuit for 5 minutes, take 5-minute break, 4 minutes, 4-minute break. So, like, the countdown timer was sweet for that kind of thing. But overall, aside from just, like, thinking, oh, I missed that other watch, I want to wear that watch, do you guys have assigned watches for certain activities during the day that you do not let like cross over into the other areas? So go ahead and put that below. I think we'll wrap it up there. I don't want to go on too long. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you like this kind of format of just like talking and bullshitting as much as I do, and we'll see, you know, how this goes and if this is going to be a regular thing. Have a great day, guys.